I have the line officer recruiter for the Air Force. He's going to talk to you guys a little bit about the process, everything you need to know in starting your process as an active duty officer. Technical Sergeant Sanderson, why don't you give a brief introduction real quick, let everybody know who you are.
All right, how you doing, everybody? Technical Sergeant Cordero Sanderson. I've been in the Air Force now for 12 and a half years now. I was a fuels technician at first on the enlisted side. A couple of my tours include being in England, Lakenheath. I was in Portugal. I was also at Yokoda Air Force, Japan, and now I'm a recruiter here in San Antonio. And I've been doing recruiting now for about 3 years.
The first thing that I wanted to ask you, what are the qualifications to becoming an LO officer, and how long does that process normally take?
Okay, so the qualifications to become an LO officer is actually not that complicated. It boils down to how anything is, an interview. You will get an interview from the commander, but that's further down the process. But to start things off, it's pre-qualifications. What kind of degree do you have? What's your GPA? What kind of career do you want to do? How medically fit are you? All of those go into the qualifications to see if you qualify to be an officer, as well as, any potential law violations or any kind of drug use. All of those encompass to see if you qualify from the very beginning. Now, mind you, the qualification process takes a bit of time to get everything ironed out to make sure you're qualified, but the process from start to finish can take over a year.
Wow. I know a lot of people want to know the difference between what is a rated officer and what is a non-rated officer. I hear that a lot. So can you clear that up for them?
Yeah, that's a great question. So rated positions are flying positions. So we're talking pilot, remotely piloted aircraft as well, combat systems officer, air battle manager. Those are all flying positions. Those are considered rated positions. Non-rated is just the opposite. Non-flying positions. So literally everything else in the Air Force that's not the one that just listed are non-rated positions.
Where would the people with like specific degrees fall, like an engineer?
Okay, that's another great question. So there's actually a third category that guys don't pretty much know about. It's called non-rated tech. So those engineers fall in that category. So actually there's 3 categories. Rated, again, flying positions. Non-rated, typically everything else. And then non-rated tech positions. Those are all the engineers, civil engineering, mechanical engineering, everything engineering on the end of it, that's considered tech one.
Next question. Would you ever recommend someone with a degree to go in the enlisted side of the Air Force?
Yes, and I will put it like this. I'm gonna try to make this simplistic, but if you think of it this way, becoming an officer in the Air Force, there's 4 buckets they pull from. The first bucket being the academy. Those kids are handpicked from high school and some after high school. They go to a university for 4 years. They get whatever career they want within those realms. Second bucket, ROTC in college. They then get the picks that are left over from the academy. The third bucket is enlisted members with degrees. They fill in those spots that the other 2 didn't fill in. Lastly, regular civilians with degrees. So yes, as I would recommend going enlisted first, not only do you get work experience, you can actually see the job yourself with your eyes to make sure that's what you want to do. And also, it gives you a leg up when you're going for the board, because if you apply now with no military experience, no ROTC, no nothing, yes, potentially you can apply for OTS, become an officer, but the positions you want might not be available because I already went through 3 different filters.
Wow, that's interesting, man. Hey, I've been in recruiting for 4 years, and that's some new information for me as well. Next question. How do you know where you're going to be located? Is it similar to the enlisted side of the house, or is there any changes?
Pretty much the same. You have a dream sheet just like you do on the enlisted side, and if what you want to go lines up with where you're available, you can go, but also have realistic expectations. If your job is dealing with missiles and systems like that, you might not be going to Florida. So if your job isn't available at that base, most likely you'll never get the location.
So you should probably get familiar with the job that you get, you should get familiar with where that job is actually located when you're filling out your dream sheet.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, it's kind of similar to the enlisted side. I just wanted to make sure and clear it up that it wasn't any different.
No worries.
Okay. And then how much do officers travel? Do they travel just as much, any less, or pretty much the same as an enlisted side of the house?
Well, I would say this: if you get a rated position, so you're flying, you're traveling a lot because your job is to fly. So it wouldn't be uncommon for you to go on a TDY or just some flight training once or twice a week. Now, mind you, if you have a non-rated position, no, your travel will be very similar to what it would be on the enlisted side.
Real quick, you said TDY. Could you break that down for the viewer?
Oh, yeah. So temporary duty. So TDY is pretty much you're doing your job, but not at your duty location. So my job right now, I'm a recruiter, and if I went on TDY to Florida, I'll be doing my recruiting job, but in Florida. You're still doing what you're doing at your job, but at a different location. Okay,
I appreciate that. And then, how often does the active duty officer work? What's a typical work week as far as hours go?
So I would say the officers probably work more than enlisted, because when you're an officer, you're in charge. The boss isn't going to come in late and he's not going to go home early. This is not to discourage you, but understand if you're becoming an officer, it's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. You'll be required to put in some real time. Now, I'm not saying every day is a 12-hour day or nothing like that, but you will work a 9 to 5, sometimes a 10-hour day, maybe even a 12, but it comes with the position.
Got it. And then the last question that I wanted to ask you was, in your opinion, when would it be beneficial for someone to join as an active duty officer versus going to the Guard or going to the reserves?
It'd be beneficial going active duty if you want to do this full time. And the time to start, technically, for anyone who is interested, is actually in your junior year of college. When you're within, when you're within 1 year of graduating, that's when you can apply. And if you already have it set in stone that you want to do this full time, then come an active duty recruiter, because we're the ones that give you full time all the time. Mind you, I know the Guard Reserve also have active positions that you can apply for, but active duty, that's all we do have is full-time positions all the time.
All right, next question. So does the active duty line officer, do they recruit medical interested students or medical interested people with degrees?
That's a great question. Actually, we do not. As a line officer recruiter, I don't recruit nothing medical. That is a health professions recruiter. For any medical positions, go to airforce.com. There is a chat box you can go on. Mention you want to speak to a health professions recruiter. They will link you to the nearest one near you with your degree. But as a regular line officer recruiter, I don't recruit nothing medical. Sorry.
Awesome. Well, hey, Sergeant Sanderson, I appreciate you helping me out with this. Like I said, hopefully this information reaches the right ears. And where are you located if anybody wants to try to come to your office?
Well, right now I'm on lockdown, so nobody come see me. But when the pandemic calms down and I'm allowed to go back to my office, I'm located at 11223 Petrinko Road in San Antonio, Texas, 78251. I'm on the west side of San Antonio, right by Planet Fitness. So yeah, I'm actually wearing the shirt right now. So yeah.